I just got done watching the first few episodes of Solo Leveling, and I gotta say, it really impressed me. Let's go over it because I think we have a new challenger approaching when it comes to the best generic fantasy anime. Solo Leveling is set in a city where these portals called gates have started opening up. Inside them are dungeons that have enemies, including some that you might expect for a fantasy anime or early on in an MMO. Normal people and weapons can't damage them, but there are people who can kill them called hunters. These hunters, the monsters, and the dungeons all have a ranking system that, you guessed it, is graded by letter E, D, C, B, A, and the highest rank being S. There are guilds, and the monsters destroyed drop mana things that they collect to make money. Sound familiar? Well, it should, because that's the basic premise of every fantasy anime ever made. Except this one is set in a modern day city and maybe even has a little bit of a sci-fi thing going on. The main character starts out super weak, is quiet, even gets the video game interface to navigate his abilities. He at one point completes a daily quest to get a key to an instant dungeon as well. Just give him a time limit and our guy's out here doing Mythic Plus trying to get his weekly vault gear. But Solo Leveling is different. And that difference lies in the execution. It reminds me a lot of Mushoku Tensei, except, you know, it's setting, characters, there isn't a shit ton of film grain, and there isn't a soft PP arc. It's actually pretty fucking different from Mushoku Tensei. The similarity to me is how each of them took on and embraced the generic aspects of the anime genre they're in, but still executed them at a high level. Now, it still does have a bit of that generic fantasy vibe, and if you can't stand that kind of thing, then this might not be the anime for you. This is our main character, Sung Jin Woo. As characters go for the show, that's pretty much it so far. He has a family or whatever, but that's not what this is about. It's called Solo Leveling for a reason. Kidding aside, early there really isn't much to latch onto with any character, and I wouldn't be too surprised if that's the case for the entire show. If you're looking for complex characters, this might not be the anime for you either. To be honest, I wouldn't be too surprised if the only character growth is his stats. I frankly don't even care about the main character. I just want to see if it keeps up with what is shown in the first few episodes. Unless they toss in, like, I don't know, maybe like a Dami Mommy waifu or something, you know, that'd be crazy, right? Character lit. I think this anime has some amazing potential, and the biggest thing that I see in it is the potential world building. And the main thing that caught my attention was the way they have guilds in this world. Compared to a standard fantasy setting anime, guilds are kind of just there, or they're the, you know, adventure guild where they hand out assignments, but they're done a little differently. The guilds in this world seem to be run like big corporations. Suits armed with contracts, viewing the hunters as a commodity and a letter grade rather than a person. The dungeons they go to give these essence stones that are a resource that can be used to make weapons, but the government also has a desire to use them as a clean, renewable energy source. There could be all kinds of conspiracy or like guild espionage type things that could happen. The groundwork has been set for that kind of plot point, and I really hope that it follows through. Combine that with the dungeons, monsters, and combat, I think it could make for quite the ride. Visually, it looks really good. The art style is pretty standard and straightforward. It's not really anything too different, but the animation is definitely good. Some of the scenes really stood out for the animation, but I'm not really gonna talk about them because they're pretty big spoilers and I don't want to do that. But there is one from the first episode where it's one of the hunters. They first introduce her and she's grabbing this purse off of these thieves on a motorcycle. I just thought it was really well done. It's super quick, but was also super smooth. I'm not an animator, so I don't really know when it comes to animation what's good, what's bad, other than what I see as a regular viewer. But it just felt together. I feel like there's shots like that where there's a lot of motion, but something doesn't feel like it's quite synced up and it makes it feel wonky. This all felt like just one really cool, fluid transition or shot or whatever you want to call it. But who knows? I'm just some idiot. My opinion could be wrong. That could be the easiest thing to do, and there's no other examples. I don't know. Audio, I do know a little bit more about, and we'll talk about the soundtrack here real quick. It's kind of a more epic sounding cinematic type soundtrack so far that we've seen, and I think it's pretty good. They cranked the shit out of it in the second episode, but I actually loved how they did the audio in the second episode. They really just went for it and wanted to make those scenes hit hard, and they did. And they did one of my favorite little things of using silence. I love when things use silence right and it hits so nice. I'm pretty hyped for this show myself now, and I'm excited to see where it goes. The potential it has is huge, but we'll see if it can continue to deliver the same way it already has. My biggest concern with Solo Leveling is that it gets the shield hero treatment, where it starts out super interesting and fresh, and then before you know it, I'm trying not to fall asleep over some giant turtle bullshit. I checked out the manhwa on my anime list, and it's ranked a lot higher than, say, Shield Hero was, so I'm going to hold out hope that it's going to keep delivering. But in the immortal words of George W. Bush, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, won't get fooled again. That quote doesn't really work here, I just think it's a funny quote. But thank you guys so much for watching a nice quick video today. Go ahead and check out Solo Leveling if you think you will like it. I'm sure a lot of people already have, because there's not all that much new stuff to watch this season. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time.